Hey there, thanks for checking out this edition of What's Happening at Effenberger Vineyards, where we make effing good wine. Well, this is the 1st of August, and here in the mid-yard, things are starting to heat up because the grapes are going through veraison. That's where they turn from green to red, and that's a signal that we're getting close to harvest. Let's take a look. So look at this fruit. This is Sangiovese, and as you might have seen last month's video, we showed you this stuff, and it was still kind of green. Right now, it's all beautiful red. Something that happens when the fruit starts to ripen up is the birds are aware of this. They're really smart. And what they'll do is they'll come by and they'll sample the berries to see if it meets their exacting standards. And once they find out that the fruit's sweet, they're going to come after it and start eating all kinds of it. And then when that happens, it opens up the berries so that the bees can get at it. And the bees are looking for the sugar and whatnot in there as well. And then you got a real problem because then you can have fungus and other things that start to get in there and attack the berries. So we don't want any of that to happen. This is basically what's going on. And what I use is a netting that keeps the bees and the birds out. The key is you got to get it up before the birds become interested in your fruit. So I'm going to do that now because I'd rather be ahead of the game than behind the 8 ball. So this bird netting is a very fine mesh, and it's just small enough that bees can't get in there, and of course the birds can't get in there either. And then what we do is we have a wire down here that's dedicated to the bird netting, and it's hog-tied down here, and it's tight. There's no way that anybody can get up from underneath into the vines and to get up to the berries. And the reason that is that the birds will come up from down below, but they won't drop in from the top because they're kind of paranoid about that. And then what we also do is we take these little clips here. This is like a legal clip that I got at Staples. And I'll take that and pull the netting together and then staple it shut like that, or clip it shut. Here's something that I'm also doing while I'm putting up my netting. I'm looking for clusters that seem to be out of sync. You can see here that this cluster, and this cluster here are nice and red, but this guy's green. And I don't think he's gonna ripen up in time to actually contribute to a good bottle of wine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get in here and remove him. Well, this has been quite a mild but nice summer. It's been great growing weather. All the plants are doing great. Finally, we're starting to get some heat, which is important because if you don't get enough heat for the types of grapes that we grow, you're not gonna get the kind of flavor profile and the ripeness that is needed to make a good bottle of wine. I mean, I'm growing Cabernet, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and these all require a bit of heat. If I was on the coast or at the beach and I tried growing these varieties, they'd never ripen up. And conversely, if I was trying to grow something like Pinot Noir, which is known for growing in a cooler climate, it'd be too hot up here and the wine would just be exhausted by the time it got fermented. It's what we call flabby. It would probably have plenty of alcohol, but the flavor would just be, yeah. So at any rate, as a grower, as a winemaker, you need to pick your terroir, your microclimate. You got to pick your plants, the types of things that you're planning on growing, and make sure they fit in with the microclimate and the soils that you have. That's how you make a good bottle of wine. This is the time of year where it starts to get really busy. I'll be labeling the wine I bottled last September this week. And at the same time, I'm checking in on the wines in barrel right now to see if any last-minute adjustments are needed before they are bottled next month. Well, I realized that I used a term earlier in today's video, terroir, or terroir, which is a French term for a sense of place. So what it does is it denotes all the variables that go into a bottle of wine, essentially. The soil, the amount of rain, the amount of heat, everything about that sense of place that affects a bottle of wine, such that it gives you an idea or an indication of where it's from, the uniqueness of that wine. If you taste a cab from Napa Valley or a cab from Sonoma, they're going to be a little bit different. Same thing if I take this cab right here that I'm just checking out to make sure it's okay, from Paso Robles.
We get our grapes from Paso to make this outstanding Cabernet.
It's really good. Anyways, this Paso Robles cab is going to taste a little bit different than the cab that we grow here in our Escondido vineyard. So there you go. That's today's lesson, terroir, a sense of place. By the way, if you'd like to come by this place here and taste some wine, get a hold of us on our website, www.effenbergervineyards.com. We do tastings by appointment only. We usually go through about 4 different varieties to taste and do some cheese, and it's a very pleasant time. Plus, we can do a tour of the vineyard and, talk shop, so to speak. So get a hold of us again at effenbergervineyards.com if you're interested in stopping by for a tour and a tasting by appointment only. Well, that does it for this edition of What's Happening at Effenberger Vineyards, where we make effing good wine. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.